Hello, welcome to James's pre-fight, post-fight MMA show, where we recap all the important things happening in the sport of MMA, and I, your host James, try to explain to you what's going on in the sport and make it as easy as 1, 2, 3 for you to understand. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fans Assemble, where we're going to talk to you about this one about UFC Fight Night, Grasso versus Araujo. Here we have returning Mike. We're gonna. Mike was had a leave of absence, but he was busy producing some of our other shows, and hopefully that'll come into play very soon. We have a pretty good card. Not the most important card. We expect pretty good action. Hopefully for all of us. But we're 1 week away from UFC 280. We're probably going to do a lot of content for that one. I already have a breakdown coming out about one of the more popular fighters on the card. Mike and I are going to do a picks and previews for that one as well, and maybe some more things to do with that card as well. But first, we have to get to this one: Grasso versus Araujo. First, some of these fights are a little bit more simple and direct than others. But we're gonna make it nice and easy for everybody to understand what's going into each one. So first, Mike, we have in the flyweight division, 125 pounds, we have Brandon Royval versus Askar Askarov. Both guys ranked in the top five. Askarov ranking 4, Brandon Royval at number 5. So there's only one spot. They're only one ranking apart from each other. We have. Let me get out my tail of the tape here. We have Brandon Royval, who is 14-6, 30 years old, 5'9", with a 70.5-inch reach, and he's coming off with 2 wins, and Askar Askarov is 14-1-1. So his one draw goes to the number 1 contender, Brandon Moreno. He's 29 years old, 5'5", with his 67-inch reach. And he's coming off of his first loss to Kai France back in March, I believe. And before then, he was undefeated. He comes from that Dagestan school, Dagestan lineage with Habib, but he just trained out of New Jersey. So, Mike, we'll start with you. What was the first thing that jumped out to you when it comes to this matchup?
Yeah, I think on the matter of this fight, I think that this is a fight with potential to be the best one of the night, depending on how it goes. And point as well has to do with the fact that Askarov is strongly favored to win this fight as a 240-point favorite. I think the fight's a little bit closer than that. And I think that this one's much more of a interesting toss-up than right now. The odds have it projected to be. But I think the key to the fight and how it's going to go really is, can Askarov keep Royval on the mat? And I think he has the capabilities, in comparison to some of Royval's opponents, to keep him down. But I think we know how explosive Royval can be. And I think that that's what's going to make this an interesting fight. I think he's going to get shots in. He's going to be decisive at times. But I think at the end of the day, I see a scenario in which Askarov ends up keeping him down on the mat much longer than Royval would like to be. And I think that's going to be the difference. And I really think that Askarov will end up winning as he's projected. But I don't think it's going to come easy. And I think it's going to be one of those fights where you see him get shook a little bit. But like I said, if he can get comfortable on the ground, and Royval's kind of like, you cage an animal, you trap an animal. And the outcomes aren't too good.
I 100% agree with you. I think this fight is much closer than what it says on paper. Brandon Royval, obviously, top 5, so very experienced, as well as Askar Askarov. But I do believe that so you're picking Askarov. Just want to make sure, right?
Yes.
Okay. I do agree with you. I think Askar Askarov is gonna win. I think that the wrestling is going to be the biggest difference. Both of them are pretty good overall with their grappling. I would agree with you that Brandon Royval is probably a bit more explosive on the feet. And also, he's 5'9" and well, you know, decent reach advantage. So that could always play in a part. And I do think his length will play a part in this fight. And I do think it will give us like you said, the moments that maybe Askarov is not looking as good or perhaps not looking as in charge of the fight as we normally see him. But I think that Brandon Royval, his takedown defense isn't the best, 30%. So that means 30% of the time he's defending them. And then against a really good wrestler like Askarov, in a 3-round fight where wrestling tends to matter more because you're burning the clock. I do believe Askarov is going to win this by decision. I expect a very good fight. I expect, like you said, Royval to push him at least in some spots, and for Askarov to win via decision. But I do not think, like you said, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think Askarov's going to tear him apart. I'll be very surprised by that. So that's how both me and Mike have it. Go. So the co-main event is between a fan favorite in Cub Swanson, who usually fights at 145 pounds, but he's dropping down to bantamweight at 135 pounds against, in my opinion, underrated Jonathan Martinez. There's a big difference in experience and age between the two of them. Cub Swanson's 28 and 8, 38 years old. He is 5'7", 5'8", excuse me, with a 70-inch reach. He's alternated between wins, loss, and win. And then Jonathan Martinez, he is 16 and 4, 28 years old, 5'8", with a 69.5-inch reach. And he's coming off of his last 3 have been all wins. Big difference in age, 10 years difference. Even though Cub Swanson's coming down to bantamweight, he is the reach and the size aren't that different between the two, but both of them are strikers. It should be a fun fight. I'm sure fans are very concerned with Cub Swanson because just a couple hours ago he did media day, and he had a training partner speak for him for the whole media day, and he basically was silent the whole time, just sitting there. So some people think maybe it's has to do with his weight cut, like his voice is drying out and he doesn't want to show it. Not a lot of people know why he's cutting down to this weight class, to be honest. Maybe it's because of the size of everybody, but nonetheless, it will play a factor in this fight, I believe. So, Mike, what do you see in this fight when it comes to between Martinez and Swanson?
Yeah, I mean Martinez is favored to win, about a 200-point favorite. And I kind of just, like I said, age and the whole weight situation, I think, are the factors that put Cub at a significant disadvantage. I think as much as a lot of people and a lot of fans out there would like to see Swanson find a way to win this one, even in his age, because, like I said, he's a very popular fighter, kind of a cult classic amongst the community. But I think at the end of the day, the nicknames say it all, right? The dragon's mightier than the cub. And I think in this situation, I think Martinez is just too much better of a striker. I don't know where Cub is at in terms of health and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'd imagine at his age and stuff, the whole weight situation becomes much tougher to do and maintain. So maybe that's having an effect. Maybe it's a driver of him trying to force changes to try and adapt and to his age and compete, stay competitive. But I see him kind of walking into this fight. I think it's going to be a fun stand-up for about a round and a half or so. I think Martinez will get the second round finish, but I do think it will be fun. I think it will be enjoyable. Fans will see Cub, and I think you're going to see Martinez throw some nice kicks in there and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of diverse strikes. And I think it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be over quick, but it's going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, I pretty much we're 2 for 2 today, Mike. I think exactly the same thing that I do think that for me it's more of the weight cut than the age with Cub Swanson. He's looked good in the past, and obviously Jonathan Martinez, I do think he is a tad bit better than some of the guys Cub has fought recently. But this is going to be a fight where the two guys are hitting each other, and of course, durability is going to come into play. And I think what you said about Martinez, he is the better striker, and when it comes to how clean his striking is, like he's probably a little bit more polished than Cub Swanson. Not that Cub isn't, but sometimes he gets a little wild in there. And I do agree with you that I think that the kicks are going to play a huge part against Cub, especially we've seen Cub he's very boxing oriented sometimes, and that's usually how he gets his best work done. And of course, Martinez has been knocked out by Davy Grant, so there's always a chance Cub Swanson could do the right. Cub knocked out people in the featherweight division, so there's always a possibility. But I agree with you. I think Martinez is gonna get it done. I do think that it's gonna be back and forth for a little bit, but then the durability and the age may show for Cub Swanson. I think I'm having a tough time deciding how it's gonna end. You think second round finish, right? By Martinez?
Yes.
TKO, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, I think safe bet for me is by decision. I think Cub Swanson does just enough to survive. I think it's gonna be back and forth. Martinez is landing the bigger shots in round 2, and then round 3, it's just Cub Swanson surviving. So that's our picks. We both picked Jonathan Martinez. For similar reasons why the betting odds have him as the favorite. Mike has him by TKO/KO round 2. I have him by decision. So, but we're basically the same line of thought. So moving on to the main event, pretty interesting action, a pretty pivotal fight when it comes to the women's flyweight division. When you have number 5 and number 6, Alexa Grasso and Vivian Araujo battling it out. We have Araujo is 11-3, 35 years old, 5'4", over 68-inch reach. And she's alternating between wins and losses. So her last 3 is win, loss, win. And Alexa Grasso is 14-3, 29 years old. She's 5'5", over 66-inch reach, and she's come off 3 wins. Alexa Grasso, former strawweight contender, had a hard time making that weight. She's come up in flyweight, and she's been having great success up in this weight division. Vivian Araujo been around in this division quite a bit longer than Alexa Grasso. Good Muay Thai, good Jiu-Jitsu, probably on paper a little bit more well-rounded than Alexa Grasso. But it should be a fun fight, at least when it comes to the striking. You have the Muay Thai of Araujo and the boxing of Grasso. So, Mike, what did you see when it comes to this very pivotal fight in this wide-open 125-pound women's division?
Yeah, I think this one's all about momentum, and I think Grasso has the momentum in terms of quality wins over respectable opponents. Won most of her last fights, and really the difference here is going to be her boxing and her speed. And the key for Grasso is going to be surviving the ground. And
I agree.
If she can get up off the ground, not spend too much time on the mat, and stay up and be quicker and more decisive with the strikes, then I think ultimately she'll eke out the decision. And in order for this fight to go the other way, it would take a really dominant performance on the.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like what you were listening to, please subscribe to Fans Assemble. And if you can, please give us a rating. Do it for the audio world. They need you.